Hello, hello, good afternoon. It's Monica from Life is Art, and we are doing our Saturday 3:30 p.m. demo. Hello, hello, good so loud at the Tales of Beatrix Potter online crop, and I'm just seeing that my camera is wonkadoodle. Sorry. We are shifting around here, trying to get everything in the frame. It was well off what it should be when I started. So just seeing if we can get things to rights here. I think I can come down a little lower. Close your eyes. Sometimes that makes people a little when things shift around. And you know what? The weird thing is I thought, oh my goodness, I've got it lined up just perfectly. And then I turn on the camera and wait for the live video to start rolling, and it's all wonky. I don't know why. Let's see if that helps. Now you can probably see my lap. We'll see. There's always that delay. So we are going to be creating a scrapbook page today. We're going to call it Hooray for Spring. Oh boy, that really went AWOL there. There's such a delay between me fixing it and it showing up in the video. So just bear with me. We'll just keep playing with it, making y'all nauseous, and hopefully we will get it in the right position at some point. Someday I'll learn. Someday I'll learn the strategy for making it work, because when I first come on, the camera looks perfectly fine. And then as soon as I go live, what you see on the computer screen is way, way off. And it's still really, why is it it's on such an angle. I don't know if I can fix it at all, but I think it's close enough now. We're good enough now. Hey, Deborah, nice to see you joining me. And I'm just going to pull out the catalog here. We have been enjoying looking at things from the current March-April catalog, and lots of good stuff in there. Now, if you are looking online, you will see that some things are listed as coming in March or coming in April. So there are some items that sold out really quickly, but there is more stock already on the way. So you will be able to hopefully get that when it arrives. I know some things came in the middle of the night last night and they sold out again, but they are coming again. So it's just one of those things, right? After the company's announcement that Close to My Heart is going to be ceasing operations the end of June, and makers are retiring the end of April, a lot of people decided now was the time to do some shopping. So it's just kind of one of those things. So this afternoon, we're going to be using the Honey Bunny collection. We're going to be using some lovely papers from there. And we're also going to be using a stamp set from this catalog. And I don't think, there it is. I didn't mark it with a little sticky note like I usually do. We're going to be using the Garden Park borders along with the Honey Bunny. And we're also going to be using a piece of the mix-in paper as part of our layout. And so the mix-in paper is fantastic because it has lovely patterns and colors that go with the two collections that are in the catalog. So that's why they call it a mix-in, because you can mix it in, and really it mixes in with anything else that you're using that you want a specific color for, because they're all just single color per side and different patterns, which is fabulous. I see that Deborah's watching and Mum is here. Hey, Mum. So if you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. If you're watching later on replay, you can just say replay or leave some other comment to let me know that you were here and watched the video. I see Heather's here too. Hello, hello. And hi, Janet. You're here too. Fabulous. So we're going to start our layout today with the ever popular piece of plain white daisy cardstock. That is going to be the base for our layout. The first thing I'm going to do is stick it down to my Versamat so that it doesn't shift while we're creating. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive there and line it up because I want to make sure that what I'm doing today will line up. Now, it would help if I stick it down straight. That always helps. There we go. A little bit better. And I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of a guideline too. So it would be nice if I had a pencil, but I'm going to use a pen, and that's okay because we're not going to see my guideline at all when I'm done. So I'm going to make a guideline. I'm going to go here to the 3-inch line, and I'm going to come just a hair above 3 inches. And stick my line all the way across because I want to line up with that 3-inch line. So if I put it just a little bit above 3 inches, then nobody will ever see my, nobody will see my ink, which is good, We want that. So, do you ever do that? Do you draw guidelines on your layout so you know where you're going? Yeah, I know I'm probably not the only one that's ever done that. Probably not. So we're going to start out first with a set of pieces of pattern paper. Sorry, I'm just kind of gathering myself over here on the side while I'm chatting. We're going to start out with a series of strips of pattern paper that are 1 inch by 6 inches. And this is going to give us a really good look at all the patterns in the Honey Bunny collection. I pretty much used every single one except for the actual bunnies. So these are all patterns from the Honey Bunny collection. This next one, actually, this is from the Mix-in collection. A little bit of Seabrook there. And so you can see we're gonna be using a lot, okay? So we need 12 of these strips, and they're 1 inch by 6 inch. And the inspiration for my layout today is not straight out of my brain, is actually one that is posted online on Pinterest by Allison Davis. And if you've ever done any scrolling on Pinterest, you'll know that Allison Davis comes up a lot for lovely layouts and lovely templates and designs. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard that name before. So this is inspired by Allison Davis's post on Pinterest. And so that's where we're going with this. So we're going to have to put some adhesive on these little strippies here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to start and work from my way from left to right. As I say, these are 1 inch wide, and we're going to use 12 of them. So we're going to go all the way across our paper, and we're going to be laying these on at the 3 inch line. And so that should give us a 3 inch gap at the top and the bottom of our layout of the White Daisy. This is actually a very simple design. It's not anything crazy. You know, sometimes designs can get a little bit hard. This is perfect if you've got little scrappy bits from mix-ins and paper collections. You could even put in cardstock instead of a pattern if you wanted, just to get enough pieces to go across. You could stamp on cardstock. You could do inking. You could do stenciling. Anything you want to create some fun patterns that match. And as I said before, we're going to be using the garden park borders. And there's a couple of these that would work really good as vertical embellishments too along these strips, the butterflies and the little vine. So you could definitely use some stamps to create some patterns. You can even do some random stamping, create your own pattern. I love these little butterflies. Aren't they so pretty? So as I've been chatting here, I've been putting these down. First we had a honey butter little polka dot one. Then some florals with a nice sage background. Then we had this peach one that we used on our card this morning. Now we're coming in with some watercolory looking plaid. This is the Mix-in that's in Seabrook. A little bit of the periwinkle on the back here. And then we have our butterflies with a glacier background. Lots of beautiful springtime colors. So this layout, I named the video Hooray for Spring. And that's going to be the title for this layout too. All right. Add a little bit more. So this is going to be our first 6 pieces. Now you can kind of mix and match papers how you like. I basically have 2 of each pattern, but I didn't necessarily want to have my pattern repeat exactly the same way. So I'm going to come in with more of the strips, and they're going to be in a different order. A little more random. Purposefully random. I'm not sure if that makes it random when you do it purposefully random. What do you think? If you plan the random, is it still random? Hey, Mary, nice to see you're watching. And Diane's here too. Hello, hello. Adding in another piece of that peach. What's your vote? Purpose random is still random, or it was just planned? It's kind of like when we play Settlers of Catan. You know, they'll say mix up all the hexes and then put them in randomly. And you do that, and then you're like, oh my goodness, there's like 4 forests that are all side by side, or, you know. And so you shuffle them around a bit, spread them out, make it a little more even. Technically, it wasn't the instructions, but when you look at it, you're like, well, that's not very fair. One person's going to have all the wood resources and, you know, that kind of thing. So while it's random to begin with, you kind of, you know, modified it. It's modified. All right, we're getting down to the last few. There's those bunnies on the back side of this piece. Those cute little bunnies. We're not putting any bunnies on this page because, while this page is about spring, sort of, it's not really about bunnies. So no bunnies on this page. So let's put some florals. Why not? We can always go for florals. There we go. And in the original design for this layout that Allison Davis had posted on Pinterest, there was some sort of doodling or stitching done on a few of these strips of paper, and it was kind of done in a darker line. So if you had a black journaling pen or something, and there was like a drawn line, maybe here and one over here, like just a little extra texture happening. I'm not going to do that, but just throwing that out there because you might want to do that. I'm not going to do it, but you might want to do it. And the main reason I'm not going to do it is because I would do it in black, because then it would kind of go with the centers of these flowers and these butterflies. But my black gel pen has run out, and my black marker has run out, and the really good Le pen that I had, I lent it to my daughter, and she never brought it back. So the black line is not going to work. And there we go. Look at that. Wow. It's just a tiny little touch over. That's amazing, considering some of my lengths are a little wonky. I'm okay with that. The little bit of wonkiness that's happening here, that's perfectly fine with me. Now, if you're somebody who does not like that, whereas some of the ends end in different places, now, frankly, some of that's going to get covered up. You could always take a 6x12 piece of cardstock or scrap pattern paper and stick all your strips to it and then trim it so that it's exactly straight edged, right? And then you could stick it on your layout. That's not me. I'm not doing that. That's too much work. So let's bring in our photos next. And this is a layout that's going to have a lot more than one photo. Now, these are smaller photos. These are 2x3 photos, but these are photos of Julia. When she's little, she's wearing a cute little stripy sweater, and she's at grandmother and grandfather's house for March break. We're there for a little visit, so springtime, and she was having fun getting her picture taken this one one day. So we have a lot in there. She took a selfie of herself, you know, as only little kids can do, and looking pretty sassy there in the living room. So we have this whole series of photos, and I think they go so nicely. And her sweater looks really cute with the pattern papers. This is why people wonder sometimes, you know, how do you scrap? Do you go chronologically? Do you do random? I'm all about the random, because I kind of get inspiration from layouts. I get inspiration from pattern papers. I get colors, stamps. And then I think in my mind, I think I have photos that would look lovely with that. So it doesn't matter to me if it was photos from March break when Julia was, you know, 4 years old, or whether it was last week. If it works, and I'll scrap it. And I'll even scrap the same pictures more than once. So these particular pictures, I might scrap them again and put them in her album, or I might put this in her album, and then I'll scrap them again and put them in my album, you know. So there's always kind of a little bit of here and there, a little here and there. So I don't want to put my photos on in a majorly precise way. I actually want them to be wonky on purpose. So I'm going to have them kind of going this way, that way, this way, that way. And this one in the center with grandmother, we're going to kind of have it on top of the two beside it. And then we're just going to kind of wonky our way across like that. Give a little shuffle. Make sure we're kind of centered-ish from top to bottom. Actually, we can be a little bit up. I'm not going to go too far up, but it can be a smidge north of center because our title is going to go below. So I'm going to actually smidge it up a little bit. And then we can stick these down. So let me see. Let's start with the outside ones here. Get those stuck down. I should have added all my adhesive before we started, because this is always, you know, takes a little extra moment. It's not just a tape runner. We go zhoop, zhoop. Takes a little extra. And then we can tuck that under there like that. So in terms of placing the photos where I did, if you look at the photo here, she's looking a little bit that way. If you look at the photo on the right side, she's leaning off to the right, and so her whole body is kind of facing this way. Those two make nice little bookends for the group of photos. The two on either side of the center one, she's a lot closer to the camera, right? And then the last one, which is the one of her and grandmother, it's different because it's the two of them. And so I decided that that one should go in the middle because it was different. So you just kind of have to think through. It'll take you look good. I'm so tongue-tied today. Take a good look at your photos and just kind of play around with them. Now these were 2x3s-ish. And then I did a little matting with white daisy on there. And so there we go. And then we'll go to the next one. And this one I'm going to kind of tuck it under, so that center one is the prominent one. I think these photos look really cute, mind you. So I may be biased, but you know, I know the people in the photos. So there we go. And then the last one. I don't remember if I said hi. Hi, Shannon. Howdy. Pamela's here too. Hey, Pamela. Yes, that is a really cute picture, isn't it? I mean, little kids are cute to begin with, but it's nice when they get all the little snuggly photos, right? And then let's tuck this last one. We're gonna put this one on top too. We're gonna kind of jump out of what we were doing and put that one on top. There we go, because I kind of like her hands there, and I don't want to cover them up. Oh, Diane says it takes brain power to make things random on purpose. It does. You kind of think about it, right? If I was just repeating, it would be fine. And complete random. You might notice when I was doing this that I have sort of a plainer pattern, then a more busy pattern, then a plainer pattern, then a more busy pattern, then a plainer, then a more busy, then a plainer, then a more busy, then a plainer, more busy, plainer, more busy. So while they're random and they're not the same all the way across, I did keep that consistent, which is why I was setting them out one by one here when I was bringing them over from where I had laid them out on the side. So because I already thought about it ahead of time. So I didn't want to have to rethink it while I was putting them on here while I'm trying to talk and do the thing live. I didn't want to have to use my brain power to also think about the order in which they were going to go on, right? Oh, Diane says Julia's going to get kicked out of the craft room for not bringing back my marker. Well, I did give it to her to use, and I haven't really rounded her up to bring it back, so I guess it's hers now. That's how she usually acquires things. Yeah. Woohoo! Shannon's watching while she's fusty cutting a million of bunnies. I highly approve. Now, we have a stamp set that we're using for this layout, and we're going to be using the Garden Park Borders, and which is really fun for springtime or for garden-y pictures. And since these pictures were taken in the springtime and they look really cute, I thought we would go ahead and use these borders. And so I'm going to grab this little piece of white daisy here. I'm going to grab another Versamat that I can stamp on without disturbing where I have this one, because that took us a long enough time to get it set up in the right spot. And the border that I'm going to be using is the bird houses. This lovely little greenery across the top, and then bird houses here. And one of the things in the catalog that showed using this stamp used the bird houses. Let's see if I can find it. And it had the birdhouses stamped in acorn, which is good because some of these birdhouses are solid, and that gives it sort of a wood grain type look. And because acorn is a coordinating color for the Honey Bunny collection, I thought that's perfect. We can use acorn, we can stamp it up in that, and it'll be good. So I want to make sure that I get good coverage with my ink on my stamp, because if I don't, I'll have to stamp again. And I'm not using a stamp platform, so that means I have to flip my paper over and try on the other side. So we're going to try and get it well inked first time, so we have good coverage, looks good. And we're going to stick it down on our piece of white daisy. And if you leave it there, it helps the ink to transfer and soak into the paper. But I'm also going to give it some pressure. It probably looks like I'm like giving it my all. I'm not. It's just that this part of my hand is better at pushing than my fingertips. So it's not that I'm like giving her per se. All right, so that was our acorn ink, and we've stamped that up. Doesn't that look super cute? Oh my goodness. Okay, now, because we got to do some coloring, and I don't want to disturb what's below, we're just going to flip this over and do some coloring on the front. Because we have stamped with something other than the intense black ink, I'm going to do my coloring. Again, this is like the day of the pencil crayons, the colored pencils. We're going to be using Perfect Portrait and Natural Landscape, the same ones I used this morning. I do have the Bright and Vivid, but they don't really go with Honey Bunny. They're the wrong kind of tones. So I've got the natural landscape and the perfect portrait. And from these two, let's see if I can, maybe I shouldn't put them on the side where my arm is going to be. We'll just tuck them over here. Maybe one on each side. There, we can see those. I'm going to start with the same pink that I used on our project this morning. Let me grab a scrap piece of paper here. And this is the Rosy Blush. I'm going to make sure I give myself a nice flat edge on the tip of my coloring pencil. And then I'm going to come in and color some of the little birdhouses just lightly. I don't need to be too precise. I don't need to be doing anything major to them. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to do this roof in pink. We're just getting a little bit of color and the foot of it in pink. And then let's do the edge of this roof in pink, like so, and the bottom. Then let's do the bottom of this one in pink, like that. We can also do this. We're just filling it in. Let's give it a pink roof. I like the little hearts on these ones. I love that there's sort of repeated shapes, but they're all a little different here and there. A little bit there. And a little bit there. So cute. And that looks good. So that was the Rosy Blush. And then I also want to come in, and I should have actually sharpened this one. This one needs to be sharpened, but it'll work. We have Amber Glow, which is a nice yellow that works really well with the honey butter color, which is in this collection. And so let's go ahead and we'll color in some of these birdhouses with the, what did I say? Amber Glow. Amber Glow. There we go. And let's do this roof with the yellow. This is no skill required kind of coloring, okay? To be honest, it's just getting the color on there, kind of doing mid pressure on it, and that's it. Easy peasy. Let's do a couple stripes on this little house, like that. All right. And then we're going to jump over and we're going to use blue. This is Sky Blue, which it was as close as I was going to get to Glacier from the colors we have to work with without having to blend colors. And I didn't really want to blend colors. So this is the little blue. We're going to use it for our little birdies. So we're going to color our little birdies just lightly because I find the lighter I go with it, the nicer it looks with the colors in the pattern paper. And then maybe a little bit darker just on the wing, just for some definition. And if you didn't notice when you first saw this, because I didn't notice when I first saw this, there are 4 birdies amongst these little bird houses. In fact, the first time I looked at this stamp set in the catalog, I didn't even notice the birds. Then I noticed the 2 that are flying below the birdhouses. And it was only when I went to stamp it and color it the other day that I saw the little ones that are on top. And I was like, well, it makes sense. You know, the birdhouses should have birds. All right, so then our last color that we're going to use is Mossy Green. And we are going to color really lightly with this. This has enough green in it that it's sort of blends. It's a darker sagey-ish color. But if you color too heavy, then you get kind of like a dark bluey color happening. So if you color lightly, that's kind of what we're going for. So let's go ahead and add just some light color on a few more of these things here. And And then my brain shuts off because I'm coloring and my brain stopped thinking. So we're just going to add that little bit of color. Let's add a couple stripes on this one since we striped the other one. Let's make this one stripey too. Kind of looks like a little beach house for a birdie. We'll color in some of the other little bits there. Did I miss anything? I suppose I could color in these little leafy parts right there. I'm not even doing it precisely. I'm just coloring right over top. I think that looks good. And then we have to color all the little leafy bits all the way across. And I find it's easier to go all one way with the ones that are slanted one direction. And then come back and do the ones that are slanted the other direction. I know that's weird, but instead of in my brain trying to twist and turn my hand in my brain, it's easier just to go one way, and then I'm going to turn my paper and come back the other way. Anybody else have weird quirks like that? Where your brain doesn't want to translate it, you just got to pick a method and go with it? I'm sure we all do. We may not even know that we're doing that. All right, now we've turned it, and we're coming back the other way. Easy peasy. Just got to make sure you don't miss any. I find if I miss coloring something, it's when I'm fussy cutting it that I notice it. Now, this particular stamp set, I don't know if it's still available, but there was an option to get it with thin cuts. You know me, of course, though. My preference is the fussy cutting. So I'm going to be fussy cutting mine. Now, the thin cut, when you use the thin cut, it cuts out these interior cuts. So if you like that look and you want that look and you don't want to fussy cut it, it can be fussy cut. I'll prove it to you here. So there it is, fussy cut out with the little interior bits, fussy cut with an X-Acto blade. So it can be done if you're crazy like me. But if you like that look and you don't want to do that kind of fussy cutting, then by all means, take a look for the thin cut one, if it's still available or coming back. Now we need to do some fussy cutting. So we're going to just cut around. We're going to leave a little halo. I am not going to cut the interior bits on here because it's not going to matter. Okay, so breathe deeply. I'm not going to force you to sit here and watch me cut out those interior bits because it did take a hot minute, maybe several hot minutes to fussy cut that. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to cut interior bits. And I'm not even going to get too fussy around like up above the bird because a lot of this is going to be backed by the white daisy. So it's not going to affect the look. It's all good. And by the miracle of Facebook, I have already done one of these because I need 2 of them for my layout. So there's a little hint. If you're going to do this layout, you want to stamp 2 of these and color them in. Now I did color them slightly differently, not a lot differently. I used the same colors, but I did mix up the spots that were colored certain colors. I made them a little bit different. Just because doesn't always have to be the same, just like our strips of pattern paper didn't have to be the same sequence all the way across, right? And around. You can always trim off excess. I'm not perhaps going as carefully as I should with this fussy cutting right now, but it's okay. There we go. And then when we get up to the little leaves, we can take a little bit more time to try and sort of follow the leafy goodness. Like that. Oops. And actually, I've got too much paper up here. I'm going to trim some of it off, rough cut. rough cut, then fussy cut. And you're going to do a lot of paper pivoting. Oops, that wasn't a good one. Let's try that again. You're going to do lots of paper pivoting, going across these little leaves. Little nooks and crannies. Crannies and nooks. All the way across. I do like that idea of stamping with the acorn. So you get that wood look. Totally appeals to me. And that's going to tie in with a little bit more embellishing that we're going to do. Because we're going to be using, and I forgot to pull out the Essentials catalog to show you, but we're going to be using some of the wood grain die cut shapes to add a little bit extra embellishment on this layout. And they look really nice with this acorn ink. So it just worked out fabulously. There we go. All the way across. Scooch those into my bin. All right. Now, I all of a sudden had this thought. What did I do with my layout? Ta-da! It was just in hiding. So we've got our little, wow, look at that. Amazing. I did 2 of them in such a short amount of time. No, this was the one I had done ahead. So you can see I've switched up where I did some of the colors, and that creates a nice little pattern. And what we're going to do is we're going to have one of our little rows of birdhouses up here and one of our little rows of birdhouses down here. And so you can see that a lot of the white space that would normally cut out by the die is being hidden by the fact that we're using white daisy as our base. But because we have our strips of pattern paper, we couldn't just stamp it on there. We had to do it separately. Plus it adds a little bit extra. Sometimes we need a little bit extra in our lives. So let's go ahead and adhere these down. Our 2 little birdhouse clusters. Don't they look so cute? I like them. I think they're sweet. So we can go ahead and stick that down and see if we can get it level-ish. I'm going to just set it there for a second and kind of lift my eyeballs and see if it looks level. Looks as level as it's going to get. And then we can add this one down here. Now I could add it with foam tape, but I kind of like having it flat so that it does kind of blend in there at the top. And then down here at the bottom will blend in with the white daisy. So, oops, drop it. That's good. So we came in about 1/2 of an inch from the edge for that one. So we'll do about the same over here. Just lining it up like that. I think that is super cute. And there's nothing about birds or anything in here, but we were at grandmother's house. So it's a house. Houses. Yay. And then to add a little bit extra embellishment, I said I was going to bring in the wood grain die cut shapes, and there's lots of shapes on these sheets. And the ones that I have pulled out to add are some of the greenery. So there's that little sprig, there's that, and there's also these little leafies down here. So lots of things we can use to embellish with. So I'm going to go ahead and do my little trick here, adding a little bit of glue, just a thin little layer on my hand. Might have got a little thick that time. And then we can go ahead and add some of these. Now I think this one I want to kind of tuck under there. And this is another reason why it helps to not put adhesive right to the edge of everything you stick down, so that there's still a little space for a little tuck here and there. And then let's tap in the glue there and add a little something up there like that, just tucked under the edge. And then these little guys, we can, let me see. Maybe we'll add one there like that. And that. And then these last two. No, actually, I didn't want those there. Woo! Let's see if they'll come away. Come from away. That's not where I wanted them. I remember now. It's good when you finally clue in. Add a little more glue. I wanted them over here. I did. I sure did. There we go. And this one right there. Like that. And then the last one. Oh, look, just enough glue. We're going to put them all in one spot on this one. Like that. Okay, now give that a minute and we might be able to use our rub and remove eraser. Or I can smear it around with my fingers and hope for the best because I'm impatient. Yeah, that didn't do too terribly badly. Pulling up that glue. Good thing I discovered that before it set. Yep. It's like Jell-O. You know, you gotta get it before it sets. Okay, we're bringing in our sticker sheet, and this is why I know I had them in the wrong spot, because I wanted our Hooray for Spring title to be down here, and that was totally going to interfere with the little leafies. So we're going to overlap our photos just oh, that's more than a tiny touch. Overlap our photos a tiny touch. Add that Hooray for Spring there. And then let me see if there was some more. There's lots of little words down here. We've got all smiles, Easter eggs. We don't want that. Love this, so sweet, amazing sunshine, memories, best day, this is the life. Lots of little sayings on here. So let me just see which ones I'm thinking of. I'm thinking I kind of like the so sweet. And just trying to decide where we're going to put it. These are the parts that we can't really predict. You know what? I'm going to put it right here. Maybe here. Right on the edge. Living on the edge. So sweet. You know what? I'm going to actually tuck it. Man, oh man, the number of times I stick something down today and then decide I'm going to lift it up again. Thankfully, these are cardstock weight stickers, so you can totally lift them back up. And trying to use my tweezers so I can see where I'm going. But I'm at a weird angle because I want to tuck it. There we go. So sweet, tucked under the edge. Then we've got love this. That would be fun. We could tuck that under there as well. If I could get it to tuck and let go of my finger at the same time, that would be fabulous. Love this. And then maybe this little happy one. Where do we want to put it? It's got a nice little dovetail on it. That would be cute in many places. I think we're going to put it right beside Julia's head, kind of laying on top of the photo. On top of the photo? Nope, I want it under the photo. There's another time we're going to lift. Lift and readjust. All right, let's stick it under the photo. There we go. You know, because we change our mind. We're fickle people. All right, let's grab our honey bunny dots and see whether we have any spots we would like to place it. Now, I've got this nice little spot kind of over here where I'm going to do my journaling when the time comes, when I think about what I want to say. And so let's add just a few little extra specially fun things here. Let's grab a couple there and maybe a green one for down here, and it'll kind of cover up some of the glue that I stuck there because, you know, sometimes you just have to stick glue in weird places. And let's grab a couple of these little guys down there. Down there? Yeah, like that. And we could maybe have a pink one up there, like that. And then let's see, what can we do up here? Let's do a blue. Yes, blue would be good. And then maybe a middle-sized pink one. And then a little-sized green one. Just like that. Just a little extra, because why not? Let's do extra. Okay, let's take our layout off of our Versamat, flip it over, grab our rub and remove eraser, and remove that extra adhesive so that we don't stick to anything before we get in our album. There's one little goober of glue. There we go. I was very generous with my glue today, putting it in all sorts of places. There we go. We got that off. And so there is our completed layout, inspired by a layout from Allison Davis on Pinterest, using up all of those lovely patterns from the Honey Bunny collection, as well as a mix-in thrown in there for good measure. I love all those little strips that plays up on all of the little photos. And then we've got all of our little houses from the trying to think. It's garden borders. Yes, garden park borders. A stamp set, plus our little wood grain die cut shapes on there for a little bit of leaves and a little bit of neutral. And I think it really helps this layout to have those large spaces of white, because this is busy. Lots of pattern, lots of little things. So it helps to have that white space to kind of, if this was all pattern, or if this was, you know, a couple different colors, it would be too much. So if you're going to do something really busy on your layout, make sure there's a place for your eye to have a rest. Even the matting around the photos helps your eye have a rest, all those kinds of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this layout come together. If you feel inspired to create one of your own like this, be sure to take some photos and pop it in the comments on the Facebook page so we can see what you created and be inspired by yours as well. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. We will be back at 7 o'clock this evening for Chat and Craft. We'll see you then. Toodaloo. Bye.